As you dive into your goals and really start to reach them, do you have friends that have changed how they are toward you? Do you find that your friends are constantly letting you down? Are you dealing with a jealous friend? Be sure not to miss today's show on Toronto Speaks about friendships, expectations, and jealousy. Welcome to Toronto Speaks Relationships. I'm your host, Victoria Laurent-Fabish. I'm a registered psychotherapist, author, and speaker. I have written 2 books. One is called Find Your Self-Culture, Moving from Depression and Anxiety to Monumental Self-Acceptance, and Connecting, Rewire Your Relationship Culture. Tonight, we are discussing friendships, expectations, and jealousy. Oh my! I have the pleasure of welcoming 2 awesome people. Pamela Sylvan, who is a mojo maker specializing in extreme empowerment and high energy PR services, and Sylvina Echegoyen, who is one of my enduring friends and a conscious marketer. Having appropriate expectations is a key factor in healthy friendships. Sometimes we have A expectations of our C friends, which lands us feeling constantly disappointed. It is very common to many of us to be codependent, in which our self-esteem seems to rise and fall based on how others are behaving. This plays a major role and a major part in friendship issues, taking things too personally, etc. Pamela and Sylvina, tell me what you think is the most important thing that people should know to make a friendship healthy. Hi.
Hi.
Great to see you both.
Great to be here.
I mean, you're a dear friend of mine, and you're an awesome inspirer of people, and you work with, coaching friendships. Tell me what each of you think is the most important thing in friendships, in the friendship world, to make sure that it's healthy. Go for it.
Well, I know we're talking expectations tonight, and I think it's actually knowing expectations exist going into the friendships. I think sometimes we hear the word friend and we know what that means, and we really don't know. So awareness, to me, it's really about sound, extreme awareness.
So what kind of awareness are we looking at? What exactly do people need to be aware of in the world of friendships?
Well, what does a friend mean? I mean, we think we know, and I think that's the first thing that gets us in trouble, what we think we know. So we have this bias around the word friend.
Right.
And I think we need to sort of clear that up as we grow older, as we climb that ladder of success. What does it actually mean, and how do I need it to be?
So as you're going towards your goals, how do you need your friends to be, and what does friendship actually mean to you is what's important. Awareness of that, understanding for yourself.
Absolutely.
Okay. And Sylvina, dear friend of mine, you're an extremely wise person in my world, and I want to know what it is that you think makes for healthy friendships.
I think 2 things.
Yes.
One is courage and an awareness of codependency, of staying yourself, your own, not falling into that you make me or you did this to me and so on. Maintaining your self-power and your own with whatever's going on to the individual.
So what do you mean by courage? Tell me a little bit more about what do we mean by courageous?
Courage to have those talks. My sister likes to call them courage talks and courageous talks, in that when you have something to say, you don't fear, you feel that comfortable to be able to share with your friends, whether it's something intimate or not, but to have that freedom and to not be afraid, to be intimate and honest with your friend.
Don't bury it.
Don't bury it.
Yeah,
that's right.
Don't bury it.
Truthful.
And really have the courage to tackle the tough topics with your good friends. Now, would you say that it's with everybody, every friend, or just certain friends, certain key friends? Would you do that, or with all your friends?
I think with all relationships and with all friends. I think with your friends it's a little easier,
right?
With that comfort level, but it's sometimes harder because you don't want to hurt that individual because they are special to you. Whereas someone that isn't as intimate, that hurt factor isn't as prominent.
Right.
So I think when you are with a friend, that level of respect and courage, and you say, no, I'm going to say this, even though you're thinking it in your head, to have that comfort level, to speak your mind, and trust that your friend will be there and accept you and not judge you for it.
I think that these are really, really good points. And for me, I would say adding to that, those 2 really excellent points would be, at any given time in a relationship, I think we're either contributing to the mess or contributing to the cleanup. So taking personal responsibility for what you're bringing to the table in a thing, whatever that is. And especially in good friendships, because we tend to sometimes take each other for granted, I think, in good friendships. And I really recommend not doing that. I think it's a precious thing to have a good friend. And it's so important in my view, and I think in both of your views, to really, really be treasuring those people, and taking responsibility for yourself is an act of treasuring the other person, I think.
Well, exactly. It's like any other relationship we have in our life, whether it be one with our spouses or our children. The friendships that we have or hold dear, we have to also be conscious. I use that word again only because, as you say, we take them for granted. They're going to be our best girl, do our thing. We call them up when we're in trouble. Yet there's still some work to do, especially as you're getting busy and they're feeling neglected.
So that's something interesting that I want to sort of tackle, this notion of when we are moving toward our goals, we're getting busy, we've got, lots of new projects, and friends maybe get a little bit hurt or a little bit feeling neglected, left out. Tell me a little bit about what you want to say about that, because I know you and I have had some interesting conversations about that.
I think the relationship to tune into first around that, which you were able to help me with, Victoria, is the relationship with self.
Right.
And understanding where I'm emanating from and what vibes I'm giving out around that and what's going on through my head, because what's in my head may not be what's going on for real. So I have to sort of get to that place first.
Say that again. What's in your head might not be going on. What's going on for real?
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we tend to blow things up because we are the center of our world, right? We're the most important person. So we project that out to other people and think, she hates me or he hates me. Meanwhile, they have no idea, right? So it's really about getting that relationship going with self, and then going to that person or that one person. I don't know about you ladies, but I have this sort of concentric circle of people.
That's right.
And depending on where you are in the circle depends on what kind of time, energy that I give to it, based on my level of need and their level of need to it.
One, in my first book, Find Your Self Culture, I talk a little bit about the concentric circle piece: A friends, B friends, C friends, D friends, and E friends. And for me, it's more not about how much time you're going to spend, but what each circle means, how much of an expectation I'm going to have. So I ask clients and people to get really clear, do a sort of a list of all your friends and place them appropriately in the group that you think they need to be. So A people, your life and death people, people that are going to be there for you at the hospital or, those life events. B people, really great friends, but maybe, not as close as the A people. C are beloved and wonderful, party friends, acquaintances. D are obligation people, boss's wife, I don't know, so, it's like, gotta be nice, and then E, people who, I don't believe that amputation is something that we should just do summarily. I believe that we can downgrade them in terms of our expectations. What do you think about this notion?
And those levels are sort of levels of filter. Like with your friends, your intimate friends, my filter, and that's one of the things that are precious about friends.
Yes.
Because even with my child and my partner, there has to be some form of filter.
Oh, so the closer you are to the center,
the closer you are, the less filter. With you and I, there's no filter. We
Right.
can be that safety of ourselves. With my partner, I have to make sure that I'm not, saying this to hurt his feelings and so on, or my daughter, whether I'm, impacting her a certain way and so on. But with you, there's that no filter, that freedom to just be.
Right.
And so those are the levels. I think that the further the level, the bigger the filter.
So what we have is three different categories we're looking at. Your filters, the different filter system, and I love how much time I'm going to spend with you. And for me, it's about expectations. And I think the viewers can kind of bring all three as they're categorizing their friends, where to put their friends in the appropriate category. And I think it's a really incredibly freeing experience to be really clear about where your friends are in your life. That way you're not having, A expectations of a C person. Because really, you know what? Yes. The C people are fabulous, but you don't need to be counting on them for your life and death stuff. Yeah. That's not appropriate.
And it's not fair to them either.
Exactly.
Because they don't know how to be, and when something happens or there's a breakdown in communication, they didn't know that that's who they were supposed to be for you. So it's letting everybody know, not necessarily saying, hey, I'm assigning you B. And you're
you don't need to let them know. It's for you. It's really information for you, I would
absolutely.
say. What do you think about the notion of expecting people to be just like you. You know, this note, I know, you're right, I know, but it is a trap a lot of people get into, which is, I do this, so why aren't you doing this? You know, I'm like this, so why aren't you doing this? And I find that people, it's the road to disappointment. It's the road. Any case study about that or experience about that where you've met people that you've worked with perhaps that are just all about constantly feeling like that person is not like them, and they're then thinking, I'm just going to let them go because they're not like me, and sort of amputating people that are not like you. It doesn't work, does it?
No, it doesn't, because you know, we're tribal. We love to jump in with people that are just like us.
Just like us, right? Belonging. Absolutely.
But you know, every now and then you're going to have to mix it up with people that are slightly off or disresonant from you.
Right.
It's to look for the things that are similar.
Okay.
And save those things.
And not condemn them for the differences.
I embrace the differences. That's sort of what you learn.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, we are different. We have very similarities, but those differences we embrace.
Yeah.
And we learn from each other. That's how I grow. Like
right.
the more difference I see, whether it's because of you or in spite of you,
right?
That's a moment of growth, an opportunity to go, okay, why is that sitting with me, right or wrong?
Right.
And that self-reflection, rather than making that person.
I mean, we're different,
change,
you and
right?
I, but
yes,
we're
very.
so close. So it's this amazing thing that says, wow, we're so different, but yet we are absolutely resonating with one another, because the one thing that's similar, I mean, we're so different, but the one thing that's similar is we have profound respect for one another and for ourselves. So that is a piece that keeps us glued in many, many ways. And when you talk about friendships as people are moving up into their goals, I want to talk a little bit now about the notion of feeling like a friend might be jealous. The jealousy piece. Any experiences around that, or something to share to the table on that?
You know, when I saw the name of the show, and I said, "Uh-oh." I have to speak to that, because other people will hear that. Because usually, when you use the word jealousy or envy, it's one of those really highly private conversations that you and your best other will have, not sort of in a public forum about that.
Right.
We never want to attribute jealousy or envy to ourselves or other people on purpose. It happens.
Yes.
And one of the biggest problems is that whole envy piece, and it's a conversation to be had, but it's a hard one if the envy is coming from the outside. Nobody wants to have that conversation. You have to manage.
So you have to manage, but do you have that conversation with the other person?
You know,
you suspect that's what's going on?
I had it once, and it was highly uncomfortable. And if the other person is not willing to own that,
right,
where are you going to go with it?
Almost nowhere.
Absolutely.
Almost nowhere. Because it's a tough thing to own, isn't it, sometimes? And listen, I think that it's important to say that everyone, I believe, feels jealous at one time or another. It's a very human emotion. What I would invite people to think about is that if you do feel jealous, because don't condemn yourself, you're human and it happens, but look to your own self to really work on your own insecurities. I would ask the question, and I do this of clients, because of course I'm in this wonderful position that people really confess this stuff to me and they say stuff to me. So I ask people when they say, I really feel jealous of people, and I really, I'm finding it really hard to be happy for my friend who's really successful, or I feel really hard, I'm really triggered by this person who's doing really well. I ask them to ask themselves this question, which is, how is your self-care? Are you taking care of you? Are you in the place of looking after you? And usually the answer is no, I am not. My workout regimen is gone, my eating is off, I'm letting people treat me poorly, and so my cup is empty, and I'm looking for the outside to fill the cup. What do you two think about this notion of jealousy is from a place of a person not feeling good within themselves?
I'm going to take it from the times I might have felt jealous or envious, and how I projected that out.
Good.
And if you asked me that question, I would say, yeah, I wasn't practicing good self-care or extreme self-care.
At that time.
At that time.
Right.
So I would say you're bang on with that. When I turned it around to taking care of my own stuff, minding my business, literally.
Love it. Yeah.
Things changed.
Yeah.
I now celebrate everybody else's stuff too now, because I'm doing my own thing. So yes, I think it's a lack of extreme self-care. And if you are experiencing that in a certain friendship right this moment, if you can't step into the space with that person because you know they're not going to own it and it's going to be war, get back to yourself.
That's right.
And that energy will flow out, and they're either going to stay with you and fix it, or they're going to sort of drift away to maybe the D or the E level.
To the D or the E level, exactly.
And jealousy can sort of seem or deceiving in the sense that because it's exterior, you're jealous of someone else, but ultimately that's always an internal situation.
Exactly.
So whenever you start looking at someone else, and that feeling, even though it's deceiving because it's about someone else, but it's always about yourself.
Right.
And so when you take attention to go, okay, wait, why am I feeling this? It has nothing to do with that person. This is all about myself.
Right.
And so rather than looking at that person and diving into deeper, you got to look at yourself and say,
lean into yourself. When in doubt, lean into yourself. When you're looking out, you're looking out, you're usually going to, exactly. Grab the mirror, look at yourself and going, what am I contributing to this experience?
You know, somebody really threw a bucket of cold water on me, not literally, but really with their words, and said, okay, you're jealous of that. Do you really want to go do that? No. But what are you jealous?
Oh, I see. I gotcha.
So what is it you're actually jealous of? You're jealous of the fact that they're taking action and you're not.
Aha. Ooh, I like that. You're jealous of the fact that they're taking action and you're not. And so then the conversation needs to be, why am I not taking action?
Absolutely.
Right.
So the responsibility came back to me.
To you, exactly. And the notion of jealousy is when a person is usually jealous, they're just not loving themselves. And the self-love needs to just come on back. And people say to me, you know, how can I love myself? And you know, self-esteem, you know, rising and falling based on other people's tones or treatment.
Or looks.
How someone looks at you, exactly. Bring it forward.
That's where that fearless comes in. Because it's not about just fearless with someone else, being fearless with yourself and that honesty.
Fearless with yourself.
Exactly.
That honesty. That is, you know, I invite people to be really fearless with themselves. As we're starting to hit the tail end, the last 10 minutes of our show, I really want you both to share with our viewers really key pieces for them to navigate as they become sort of more themselves, more successful, more, you know, as people, and they're coping with people having that jealousy piece. What's the number one thing you think somebody needs to do? Pamela.
Celebrate their small wins. You know, we're waiting for the big goal, the big payoff, and it might be years down the road.
Celebrate your small, what did you say? Yes.
Small wins.
Small wins. Love it.
You know, because if the big win for you is 5 years or 10 years down the road and your best buddies are getting their stuff now, problem. You know, some days I celebrate the fact that I put on my gym clothes. Yay.
Yay. Good job. Exactly. Celebrate your small wins. I love that.
Absolutely. And catalog them so you can go back and see that you're making some headroads too.
Right.
You know, and then one day when you look back, it's like, look at all the stuff I've done, and and there's the big mountain I climbed. But I'm not just waiting to celebrate who I am until that big mountain win comes. Most people are waiting.
So don't wait. Celebrate your small wins. I love it. How about yourself? What do you think a key one is?
Empathy.
Empathy
for yourself and the other.
Right.
And whichever side you're coming out of, whether the friend that's being jealous or the one that's being jealous of.
Be
empathy.
kind to yourself.
Kind to the friend and to yourself. And to yourself. That empathy. For whatever negative emotion, you have to find that empathy.
So that really transforms an experience right away. I mean, when we're in that kind of combative, defensive place, there is no empathy. There is just that amygdala, which is that at the back of our brain, that fight-flight response. It's just, it's really fast. It's 1/38 of a second. It's boom. So calm that down and turn it around and experience empathy. Absolutely. And I would say for me, when people are jealous, I think that the key thing is visualization. Visualize the two people coming together in peace. I like saying the words, may this work out best for all concerned. I like that as a mantra. May this work out best for all concerned. And because, you know, we can't control how other people are and we can't control their emotions, but what we can control is our own attitude and our own being. And it's not easy, but we can. Can. So,
and that's what we're responsible for.
Exactly. Ultimately, that's all we're responsible for. Exactly. So it's all about visualizing them, us and them coming together in a peaceful, well way, saying the mantra, may this work out for all concerned. I think it's a powerful thing. You know, I just want to sort of begin the wrap with the notion of amputation. Just want to talk about amputation real quick. That people say, oh, they're not nice to me, that's it, they're out, that's it, it's over, it's finished. I want to invite people to consider the notion that amputation should be reserved just for the very, very toxic, the very, very abusive. You can learn so much from someone you're uncomfortable with. You know, and take that as an opportunity for growth and transformation. What do you think about that? Just quick on the amputation piece.
That moment where you self-reflect and go, what? And that's where you're going to learn about yourself.
Right.
Right. And again, don't make it about the other person, yourself.
Make it about yourself. What do you think about amputation?
So does that mean I have to go get those 900 Facebook friends I got rid of?
Oh, because you dumped all those Facebook friends. But you did that as a marketing thing, which I totally appreciate. Cleaning the slate a little bit.
Oh, no.
But no, in personal relationships, the amputation, what do you think about that?
I'm in favor if it's going against you and your physical self and your emotional well-being.
Okay.
Absolutely gone. If there's room for growth and learning still, consider it. Become a relationship wizard, practice alchemy.
I love that. Practice alchemy, become a relationship wizard. I love that. And I would say surround yourself with the cheerleaders and with the people who are, you know, excited for you, but don't be addicted to that either. Don't be addicted to that either. It's okay to have people around you that aren't, you know, that are kind of more neutral about it. Because what that does, I believe, is it helps you to train yourself, not be dependent on the outside world to feel good about yourself and your experience. You know, fill your own cup first and then create an overflow and give to others from that overflow. I think that's a really good rule, because if we're constantly sort of addicted to affirmation and acknowledgement by the other person, it's a balancing act between wanting that cheerleading and at the same time being okay that people are just sort of kind of neutral about you. What do you think about that cheerleading versus, you know, only surrounding yourselves with cheerleaders?
It's a balancing act that I think every day you get up, you have to make a decision about. I know I do. In every place I move in my business and in my personal life, when I find myself leaning too much towards the accolades, it's like, oh, you're getting into that trap again. Back off.
Okay. And what about yourself? Do you have a thought about that?
I lost it. I'm sorry.
No problem.
I was focused on what she was saying.
Yes, exactly. No, that's awesome.
That was really good.
Yeah, that was really good. The notion of, you know, only surrounding yourself with cheerleaders. I think that can be dicey territory.
Yes. And
you want the cheerleaders, but you don't only want the cheerleaders.
And not everybody's always going to be the cheerleader. So I mean, your friends and what you have, that sort of energy is just one aspect.
Right.
Everything is going to be around you, whether it's cheerleading or inspiring or not, or getting you to settle down or pump up. But that's what all the different friends are for, and all those different uses. If you have everything the same, it's going to be very boring.
Be open to learning from what people are offering. Essentially, when people are offering you themselves, their being, be open to taking what it is that's on offer.
Yes,
and
different experiences.
It doesn't all have to be pretty. And it doesn't all have to be just, you know, pro you. One beautiful person I know says, I really have trouble with criticism, with friends, you know, giving me feedback. And what do you think about that? Just the thing about people giving you criticism or giving you feedback about you. What's your thought on that?
Well, I usually preface it and say, you know what, I need you to give me some feedback, but here are the parameters. Like, don't drag me through the mud and stomp on my head. Okay.
So you're giving them, you're saying, listen, you're going to give me the feedback, but give it to me in a way that is not brutal.
Yeah, and I'm looking for feedback in these areas.
Yeah.
Right? You know, if I'm asking for feedback on my cooking, don't talk about my hair.
Right. Excellent.
Yeah. So
I also am a big fan of, when you're sharing with a friend, preface it with, I just want to vent right now. I don't need you to solve my problems. You know, I don't need you to tell me how to fix my issues. Right now, all I want is someone to listen to me. Can you do that for me right now? And really ask for what you need. Draw the right boundary. Ask for what you need. Be courageous enough. Because some people are, you know, they want to find solutions. It is courageous, absolutely.
Well, when you say to someone, you know, especially when you are asking for opinions, sometimes can get blurry with a judgment or a perspective that isn't necessarily their entire awareness of the entire situation.
So boundaries on that.
Boundaries, and,
yes.
and understand that when a friend, and that's that courageous conversation when someone says, give me your opinion, and they're giving it, and you start hearing something that becomes a judgment and so on, to say, whoa, wait a minute, help me out here. This is what I'm looking for, not that.
Yeah, own your triggers in a conversation. I'm feeling triggered right now. I'm feeling triggered right now. And then usually in a good friendship, they are going to probably honor your tender heart.
Empathy comes in.
Empathy comes in. But have the courage, once again, to say, I'm feeling triggered right now, and you need to tread a little softly. I think that people get into trouble and fights when they don't know who they are in a conversation, and they allow for the situation to just be rather sort of the Wild West. There's no, the Wild West.
Guns come out
exactly.
And, there's bodies
no
everywhere.
rules.
Yeah.
We need some rules to this conversation, and have the courage to say, in this conversation, all I want is gentleness, or in this conversation.
And know which friends give you that.
Right.
Like there's certain friends that will give you that gentleness,
Right.
and certain ones that will give you that kick in the butt that you need, or the ones that you want them to go, yeah, he's awful, you do that, or that want to go, no, it's your like it's all that. That's that melting pot of friends that you need at those different times, and that's your responsibility to go. I'm not going to go to my friend who gives me tough love,
Right.
when I'm in a very low place and I need a softness.
Yeah.
Right?
Know yourself.
Know yourself and your friends to go, I'm not going to go and don't keep expecting that person to give you that this person
things.
Exactly. And so that awareness.
And as we summarize for people, just have that courage to go down that little list and see who your A friends are, your B friends are, your C friends are, your D friends, and try not to mix them up. Try not to have A expectations of the C people, lest you get hurt in a way, and fights happen in a way that's not that's almost dangerous, toxic and unhealthy. Exactly.
And unfair to everybody. Absolutely.
I'm so happy you were both here with me. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. A lot of fun.
That's all the time we have today. Thank you, ladies. Thank you to our viewers at home for your calls and questions and comments. And thank you so much, Pamela Sylvan, Mojo Maker, and Sylvina Echegoyen, my enduring friend and conscious marketer. And remember to love yourself, be true to yourself, and have appropriate expectations. You can do it.